One of the most controversial topics that we can talk about is fasting your dog. Now, I know you guys get super emotional about this one, and I know Eli certainly has something to say about it, but let's look at the research behind fasting and whether it's a good idea for your dog or just a new fad. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to this channel, and if you're on YouTube, click the alert notification. Now, recently, the Dog Aging Project announced that feeding your dog just once a day is associated with better health. The dogs that were fasted scored higher on cognitive function, and they were less likely to have dental, joint, kidney, liver, pancreas, and gastrointestinal issues. Now, this really didn't come as much of a surprise because there's a bunch of studies on fasting, and they all say the same thing. It's good for you and it's good for your dog. In fact, there was a large study done in a lot of species from yeast to humans, and it showed that we all benefit from fasting. So I want to talk about why research says fasting is a good thing for the body. Now, first of all, fasting is natural. Your dog's ancestors didn't have a steady supply of chow. They had to hunt what they ate, and they weren't always successful. So the dog is meant to have frequent periods of no food, followed by gorging. And that's a good thing, because here are the benefits of feast and famine. First, researchers found that fasting improves the markers of oxidative stress. Now, what does that mean? Oxidative stress is like a rust that builds up in the body, and it's caused by free radicals, which are unstable molecules that steal electrons from their neighbors, which makes the neighboring molecules unstable. Now, billions of these chemical reactions can happen in a second, and your dog's immune system has no defense against it. Left unchecked, oxidative stress will break down organs and cause chronic inflammation and disease. But fasting, even just fasting for 16 hours overnight, significantly increased antioxidant activity and slowed down free radical damage. So, not surprisingly, research also shows that fasting protects your dog from age-related diseases. And this makes sense because the more your dog can control free radical damage, the slower he ages. And of course, this means that fasting can reduce chronic inflammation. Chronic low-grade inflammation is the driver for most diseases. Clogged arteries, pancreatitis, liver disease, kidney disease, they're all just the result of chronic body-wide inflammation. And fasting decreases the immune response that causes chronic inflammation. Now, the next reason to fast your dog is that it helps clear out toxins. Waste products build up in your dog. They're the result of the foods he eats, how he metabolizes his food, and just plain living and breathing. It all creates waste. Fasting is like housekeeping. When your dog is fasting, waste proteins are better able to be removed from his cells. And if he's always eating, then the waste proteins just keep piling up, and it's harder for his body to detoxify the waste products. Now, the next reason to fast your dog is the biggest one for sure. Researchers found that fasting mice for just 12 hours at a stretch increased their lifespan. And back in 1982, the research was also done on rats, and they found that rats that were fasted every second day lived a whopping 83% longer than rats that weren't fasted. So if you're now convinced that your dog should be fasted every day, it's good. That's a good thing. It's a simple way to protect them from disease and help them live longer. So how exactly do you fast your dog? Well, you could do periodic fasting, which is what I used to do with my dogs. Once or twice a week, I just wouldn't feed my dogs at all. They hated it, and I hated it too. Dogs are creatures of habit. You've probably noticed this. They know when it's mealtime, and robbing them of that pleasure seems a little bit cruel. And it probably is. It's a big part of their day. I think the best compromise is intermittent fasting. Now, a lot of this research I showed you showed great results with just 12 hours of fasting. Think about it. If you only fed your dog between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., you'd already be doing them a huge favor health-wise. And you can just gradually reduce the window of time where your dog gets food. So for my own dogs, right now, I feed them just once a day, and I try to do it at roughly the same time every day. Now, every once in a while, maybe twice a week, I will feed them twice a day. For example, they might get a nice veal tail or trachea as a snack and then get the rest of their meal later on. But I try to keep this in a smaller window between noon and 6 p.m. That gives their bodies at least 18 hours every single day to clean up free radicals and toxins and work on reducing inflammation. If you only lived in your house for 6 hours a day and cleaned it for the other 18 hours, it would be sparkly clean, just like you want your dog's cells and organs to be. Now, do you have a question or comment? Let me know below. Have a topic you want to talk about? Leave a comment. And if you like this content, please like and share it. Thanks for watching.